There are a lot of things that go into picking the right kayak paddle. And I'm not the guy who's the expert, but I have the expert here, and he's going to take you through everything you need to know. Stay tuned. I'm here with Chris, the owner of Hook, Line, and Paddle here in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I would bet that he sold thousands of paddles in the life of his store. And each paddle has specific characteristics to match up with not only the kayak, but the paddler. And I've got him here to take us through so you don't make an expensive mistake buying a nice paddle. Chris, take it away.
You're right, Steve. There's a lot of different ways to choose a paddle. And you mentioned earlier in your intro that there's low angle and high angle blades. So I want to start with those, and that's going to be kind of synonymous through the rest of the video. So to start with that, we're going to look at a low angle blade. That is going to be your longer and thinner blade. So this is going to have more of a flat horizontal stroke to the top of the water. Some people, other than high angle, you're more swinging as you paddle. Some people prefer to be a little bit more compact and more efficient. So when we talk about a low angle paddle or a low angle paddler, this is going to be the blade style, the elongated blade style is going to dictate to that. We go to more of a high angle blade style, we are going to come to a wider blade. So this is going to be someone that brings that paddle stroke around a little bit more. The blade's a little bigger. They're both going to accomplish the same mission. It's more of the style that you like to paddle. What's the most comfortable? What's the most efficient to you? But just kind of wanted to get that first so people can understand the difference between a high and low angle paddle, that style of paddling, and what that paddle is going to look like. So this is going to dictate more of that high angle paddle being a wider, fatter blade. When we talk about kayak fishing, a lot of the modern kayaks now have high and low seat systems. So we're going to suggest around a 240 centimeter paddle is going to be the proper length of paddle for the kayak that you're in. But when we talk about kayaks where you can go from a low position to a high position, that 240 becomes a little bit too short because you've gotten taller. You've moved that seat up. You've moved your seat pan up a little bit. So with that, we can talk about Accent's fish stick. This is going to dictate to a high angle paddler. It's a wider blade. This is an aluminum shaft. It's going to have a little bit more weight to it. It starts out as a 240, and by opening their lever lock system, you're able to go from a 240 out as far as to a 260. Now, it doesn't mean you have to go that far. You can find the spot that's just right for you, close your lever lock down, and that's going to be your high position length. So, aluminum shaft, it's going to have a little bit more weight to it. It's going to come in around $120. Simply, you can close it down, lock it back, you're back at 240. If we move to, in the same frame of an adjustable paddle, we can come to the assault paddle. This is going to be a carbon fiber shaft. It's going to be lighter. This is coming around $160. This is a 250 that then goes out to a 260. So you have 10 meters of adjustment, 10 centimeters of adjustment. Again, if 260 is too much, find your sweet spot, you lock it down, paddle secure. Price goes up a little bit, but it's a lighter paddle for when you're on the water. If we start talking about kayaks that don't have a high-low seat option, just a standard kayak, in that standard kayak position in the seat, most people are going to go to more of a 240 centimeter length, maybe up to 250. Mostly going to fall at 240. They're going to be fixed. They're not going to adjust to be any longer. And to start with, our lightest one is going to be the Accent Air. This is going to be a thinner blade. We're going to be more of a low angle paddle. This is a carbon fiber shaft, carbon fiber blended nylon blade. We're going to be at 24 ounces, which is extremely light. This paddle is going to come in at about $199. It also has a kingpin system, so if you're right or left-handed paddle and you want to angle that blade or feather that blade, you're able to press the blue button, rotate it to the angle of feather you want. If people do that, usually 30 or 45 degrees is where they settle. You click it back together, your blade's offset. If we want to go in that same theory of it's a fixed length blade, again we're going to talk 240, we can come to the Accent Energy. This is another blend. This is going to be a fiberglass shaft with a fiberglass blended nylon blade. We're now at about 31.5 ounces. The price drops to about 140. Comes with a grip for your hands. This is going to be more of that kind of low angle paddle. Same kingpin system, same adjustment, just that added grip. You go into a 31 ounce, it's a little heavier, but we're knocking $60 off the price, coming in at $139. Another option could be from Bending Branches, their Angler Classic. Same theory as the Energy. It's a fiberglass shaft. It's a blended nylon blade. You're getting around 31.5 ounces. Same price at $140. This one has a measuring tape on it. Your option for angling your feather is either 0 degrees or 45. So you're just gonna, if you want it angled, you're gonna go ahead and lock it into either the top left button or the top right or the bottom right button, and that'll give you that offset. Another added feature to the Angler from Bending Branches, they have a lure retrieval system, so you can hook that on your line, slide it down, find your lure that's stuck on whatever, pop it off and retrieve it. Just a little added feature to it. So again, we're in that low 30 ounce range, kind of blending fiberglass, nylon fiberglass together to get a lighter paddle. So that's going to be in the way of fishing. If you're checking out this video and you're not really, for more of a paddle education than for what do I need for a paddle for kayak fishing, another great option, again, would be the same one we talked about, the Accent Energy in the 240. If you're in a wreck boat, maybe go to a 230. Another option, again, would be from Bending Branches. This is the Stingray. So we have a carbon shaft, carbon blended blade. We have that low angle paddle coming in at 140. They have similar adjustments to it for your feather. You're going to push your 2 orange buttons, rotate, put it at the angle that you want, reassemble, and you're all set. So if you're interested in, well, I kayak fish, but I also have a kayak I just paddle, this is going to dictate. We would more suggest those styles of kayaks are a little skinnier, so we're going to drop you down to a 230 centimeter paddle. If you start talking about real technical kayaks, 22, 24 inches wide, that's going to come down to maybe more of a 220 to a 210 depending on your height. That's maybe getting out a little bit of realm of what we're trying to accomplish here with this video, but you need to think about the boat you have, what it does at high-low seating, if you need that sliding adjustment. And if you want it lighter, it's going to cost a little bit more money. If you look at a paddle, if you care for it, which I think a lot of people's biggest mistakes are, they just leave them assembled, throw them in the garage. They're going to get stuck together. So the best thing, and what we tell all our customers to do is go ahead and take it apart. When you're done fishing or paddling, when you get home, rinse off the shaft and rinse out the ferrule with fresh water, and go ahead and store it in your garage apart. If you clean it at the end of every trip, store it apart, they're not going to get stuck together. When they get stuck together, there's not a lot we can do. Usually the paddle ends up getting broken because we just can't get it apart. So that is just kind of a tip to go across the whole spectrum of what you're going to do with a paddle, is break it down and clean it. Thanks, guys, or thank you, Steve, for having me and going over some paddles and how to buy them. Again, think about the kayak you have, if it has high-low seating, and if you want that adjustability from 240 to 260 or 250 to 260. And think about the money you want to spend. Of course, as they get lighter, they do get more expensive. If you care for a paddle, if you clean it, store it properly, you can look at a $200 paddle and it lasts you for years. As simply as you can buy a $140 paddle, care for it, and it'll last you for years. So, if you're thinking 200 is a lot for a paddle, if you care for it, store it properly, don't beat it up, jam it into oyster rocks, pushing off. It's something that can last you for quite a long time. I have some paddles that are over 10 years old that I still use today.
Well, thanks, Chris. I really appreciate that. There's a lot more to buying one of these paddles than you would think, and I'll throw Chris's link to his store, Hook, Line, and Paddle, and his phone number down in the description, so if you've got questions, you can reach out to him. Thank you very much, Chris. I really appreciate it.